Welcome to learnlogicpro.com. So I've launched Logic Pro 9 here, and immediately I start seeing some differences in the application. And let's go ahead and look at some of the differences that are immediately noticeable. First and foremost, you see this white line all the way around this window. If you select this window, you notice the same white line. This indicates that you have selected a specific window. So if you're here and you're in the mixer, it lets you know that you've actually selected this area and that's where you're working. So there's a graphical representation to indicate where you're working. You notice at the top this graphic has changed, the inspector has changed with a nice white. This represents that it's actually on. Inside preferences, I notice that these are slightly changed with the control surface options here. There's also chord grid library that's new as well. When I went into audio, I also noticed there's a latency round trip millisecond processing that's going on that essentially gives me some sort of representation of what we're dealing with latency based on the I/O buffer size. You also have a separate output and input device option, which is great too if you have a separate audio interface for your input and then you want to go out to something else. I also noticed up in the right corner there was a section for notes. Here there's a whole notes section for project and specific track. When I went to media and I loaded a preset, even the user interface for the loading of the preset would look slightly different as well. And it loaded here. As you look at the channel strip, you have a little tape here that represents the name. The EQ gives you a nice bright green, letting you know that there's an EQ on there. You also notice there's a flex tool here. This allows you to do the flex option, which we'll talk about in another movie. Here in settings, everything was pretty much the same, except there's project import settings, and this allows you to import settings from another project. In bounce, I noticed that there was some new options. There was a bounce second cycle pass, end effect tail, and there was also the normalize has been changed, giving you two options: overload protection or on. So this is just a brief overview of some of the graphical changes that were instantly recognizable in the new Logic Pro 8.